Tony Kurre Radio. It is Tony Kurre Live. Download that Tony Kurre Radio app. Man, we had like 1,500 downloads last week, and I don't know, I was trying to think, did we do something special or something? Maybe this thing is just catching fire. We had over 1,500 downloads last week. Al Cooper, good morning to you, Al. We're on Facebook Live right now on the Tony Kurre page as well. Download the Tony Kurre Radio app. People have been looking for me. My UPS guy drove by. He's like, by the way, what the hell you been doing lately? And I'm like, dude, I've been doing Tony Kurre Radio for 3 years. He's like, I never know. And I said, download the Tony Kurre Radio app. I'm on every single morning, 7:30 to 9:30. We had Josh Claypo on yesterday. We did the Curry and Claypo show. Listen to this. We've got Dark Side of the Pooch on Mondays at noon and 8. It's a great pet show. And I'm going to talk about deer here in a minute. We got Adapter Parish with Alex Hubline and Dr. Josh Claypo that runs at noon and 8 on Tuesday. We got Live Wire Wednesday. It's all ACDC. Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. Brought to you by Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828. We have Mission Minded with Michael Cooper, Salt of the Earth guy, great guy. We're talking about non-for-profits, business, you name it. It's fantastic. That show runs at 12 and 7:30 on Wednesday. We got Austin Hanks, Blues Almighty, which is one of my favorite shows. Last night he did the Nick Part 2, bands that have frequented the dive. That runs. We got the Damon Johnson show. That Damon Johnson from Brother Kane, Alice Cooper, John Waite, Black Star Riders, Thin Lizzy, just got off the road with Leonard Skinner. He does a show on Fridays. And all these shows can only be heard on Tony Kurre Radio. You can't hear these shows anywhere else. Then we got a show called When in Rome. This show is with Stuart Rome from the Woodhouse Day Spa. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, and get yourself a gift card for your baby coming up, whether your baby's a guy or girl. Coming up for Monday and Valentine's Day. I just saved your ass right there, didn't I? You're like, oh, crap, Valentine's Day is coming up on Monday. We did a Valentine's Day show. It's going to run at 1 and 7 today. It's called When in Rome, and it's great because it makes you look good, it makes you feel good, and it sounds good. We actually play classic rock. Today you'll hear Chevy Van. The last time you heard Sammy Johns and Chevy Van. We got that show going on, and then we got a classic hip-hop show we do on Saturday night. So anytime you tune in to the Tony Kurre Radio app, you're getting just some great content, unique content, only stuff you can get here. And then, of course, you get Tony Kurre Live and the Curry and Claypo show in mornings right here on Tony Kurre Radio. All right, coming up here in 20 minutes, Al Del Greco, my good friend. I saw him about a week and a half ago at some political thing for our friend Brian Christine, who's running for District 15, Senate. Anyway, I saw him. I was like, dude, Super Bowl. He's like, what's going on with your Bengals and this, that, and the other? Al Del Greco, 20 years in the National Football League, AFC champion, played in Super Bowl 34, played for the Auburn Tigers. He's now, of course, the head coach at Sanford Golf. You want to talk about Salt of the Earth guy. Love him to death. He's a brother from a different mother. He's going to join the show at 8:30 this morning here in just about 20 minutes on Tony Kurre Radio. And we'll talk about not only Super Bowl 56 and what my Bengals have to do. I feel like the first team in NFL history to win by less than one score throughout their playoff run. We know about Evan McPherson, what he's doing. We know their offensive line sucks. Joe Burrow's been sacked 63 times. It's 15 times more than any other quarterback in the National Football League, which is unheard of. You don't see a team with a bad offensive line make it to the Super Bowl. And we know with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and all those guys, they're going to be getting after it. It's going to be screen pass after screen pass after screen pass on Sunday, and I'll take it. So that's going to be going on Sunday for Super Bowl 56. So we'll talk to Al about that. And then, listen, this Brian Harsin thing, man, I was going through my son's school this morning, and the guard came out and said, when's Al coming on? I want to know what the hell's going on down at the Plains. What's happening with my Auburn Tigers? And it's just so much drama down there, man. What is going on? Sometimes I think the Auburn Tigers overthink themselves. You've had a coach for 1 year. You brought the guy in. You made the hire. I think it was a great hire. I love Brian Harsin, super successful guy. And I don't know all the ins and outs. And maybe Al can crystallize some of these thoughts for us in about 18 minutes. I don't know what's going on. I've seen coaches come in and they have to clean house. Hell, Bear Bryant did it. Yeah, clean house. Get rid of the guys that don't want to be there. And again, they're talking about how difficult it is that he's going to have to fill out his coaching staff, and obviously that's going to make it very difficult for recruiting. And I'm like, this is Auburn, man. This is Auburn. You've won national titles. I mean, what's going on down there? You've had 19, 20 players split. And I'm all about, listen, If you commit to a school and you decide this ain't for you or you want to get some playing, and I know the portal has just opened up a Pandora's box, then go. I'm like that with women. You know what? If you're not having a good time with me and you don't want to go out with me anymore, just say the word. I'm not going to deal with your drama. Just say the word and I'll go out. I'll meet somebody else. I can find somebody else. There's millions of people out there, right? But I don't want to be somewhere if they don't want me, right? And I don't know what that's happening down to the Auburn Tigers. I don't know what's happening down there, but we'll talk to Al about that coming up, the Brian Harsin situation, in just a few minutes right here on Tony Kurre Radio. We're going to be on Facebook Live till about, 8:20, 8:25, something like that. And then because of music and our licensing, we can't have our interview on at 8:30. So make sure you download the Tony Kurre Radio app. If you're an Auburn fan, if you're an Alabama fan, you want to get a good laugh, you think this whole thing is funny, whatever the situation is, you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you're a Rams fan, you're from St. Louis and you hate the Rams, so you're... And by the way, I reached out to a friend of mine who takes a little wagering, and I did a little wagering. He said, man, I need the Rams to win so bad, it's killing me. He said, everybody's betting on the Cincinnati Bengals. Brandon Austin, good morning to you, man. Great to have you on. He said, everybody's on the Bengals, and I hate that because normally this time of the year, I'll call my bookie and go, who do you need? And I'll take that side because the bookie doesn't lose. So we'll talk about that coming up with Greco at 8:30 this morning right here on Tony Kurre Radio. My radio partner was on yesterday. Oh, by the way, this Win in Rome show is a Valentine's Day show. If you get a chance to check out Tony Kurre Live, just Google Tony Kurre Live and listen to the podcast that's going up later on this afternoon about Valentine's Day. It's killer. I am a relationship expert. I'm divorced, so now I've done it all, and so now I can actually speak about everything. Some people say, well, how can you be an expert if you've been through a divorce? You didn't make it work. No, but I learned. I don't fail. I learn. You're either successful or you learn. You don't fail. And I learned a lot through my marriage and everything else. I shared some things with some people, and we'll have that podcast up a little bit later on today. But the Win in Rome show at 1 and 7 is just a full hour of what guys want, what girls want, why we can't get what we want. Guys just want to get laid, and women just hope their husband or boyfriend falls asleep right after dinner. We'll talk about it coming up on the show right here on the Tony Kurre Radio. So my radio partner, Dr. Josh, who we talked about Valentine's Day at length yesterday about, just sent me a story. The discovery, I've been saying this now for a long time, and people ain't listening to me. It ain't going to be a meteorite. It ain't going to be an earthquake. It's going to be animals. Animals are going to kill our ass. I'm telling you, man, as we continue to expand or moving into different areas, we're taking their habitats. We're making animals extinct. Animals are going to come back and kill our ass. I'm telling you, it's going to be like the Snow White thing where we're all just having a kumbaya and we're walking through. It's like Madagascar. We're just going to be having a good time, and birds are going to be sitting on our, we're going to be riding deer, and buffalo are going to be jumping over things. There's going to be, unicorns and stuff, and all of a sudden their ass is going to kill us. It's just going to kill us. I'm telling you. I said the other day, I went out my back porch the other day, and there was a squirrel on my bird feeder. Of course, that's not good. And I went out there, and I got from like here to here. And I'm sitting there, and I could have pet this squirrel. It wouldn't leave. It wasn't scared of me anymore. I'm like, okay, this is not good. Next thing you know, I was surrounded by killer rabid squirrels. There was like 50 squirrels on my deck, and they're all just sitting there looking at me, and they got really close to me like they were waiting for me to tell a story or something. It was weird. Animals are going to come back and kill us. I'm telling you. They're going to come kill us. The discovery of deer in New York City infected with Omicron variants are now raising questions about whether or not animals could potentially transmit COVID-19 to humans. We already know it came from a bat or something, one of those weird exotic animals, so we know that can't be. The new study, which has not been peer-reviewed, found that 15% of 131 white-tailed deer sampled in the borough of Staten Island tested positive for the antibodies of Omicron. They actually swabbed the nose of these deers. Hell, I can't even swab my 9-year-old. How are you swabbing deer noses? At least you don't do it like in China where you have to swab their ass. Although there's not been any evidence that the virus can spread from animals to humans, the findings from Pennsylvania State University, the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation Conservation Group White Buffalo raised concerns that deer could become a reservoir of the virus or lead to new mutations. We demonstrated for the first time the Omicron variant has also spilled into wild animal species. This is the first time it's ever happened. It's becoming quite a concern for us, they're saying. This is not the first time deer have been found to be infected with COVID-19. Researchers have found samples for the virus in deer dating as far back as September 2020 in Iowa. But this is the first time. And by the way, if you listen to Dark Side of the Pooch on Mondays at noon and 8 with Dr. Rab Stewart from the Rossbridge Animal Hospital, you realize that cats can get COVID, dogs have gotten COVID, but that's a variant that stays in animals and it doesn't go to humans. We've seen from various studies that deer are sometimes naturally infected from exposure to people. Are you one of those knuckleheads that feed deer every night because they're beautiful and they're fun to look at? Then you get angry. My dog is barking at 4 o'clock in the morning because you got like 50,000 deer in your backyard. There are a few theories on how deer become infected with Omicron, and all involve humans as the starting point. One theory is that deer come into direct contact with humans who likely got close to them and fed them and caught the virus. Another is that deer interacted with other animals, such as cats, that were infected with COVID from humans. I'm telling you, man, you throw in the deer thing, you throw in my killer squirrels, you throw in the woman who was killed by like a herd of cows a couple of weeks ago. Did you hear about that? Then they found a woman on the side of the road in Italy, and she'd been eaten by a fox. She was going for a jog. She got attacked by foxes. I'm telling you, man, this is a Disney movie gone bad. This is bad news, right? Animals are coming back to get us. The theory that I find most plausible, according to this researcher, is that we know that at least elements of the virus are shed in wastewater. So people that are either urinating or defecating out the virus. What we haven't seen is that the virus is still alive or able to infect other things. I don't believe that's been proven yet. That's scary. There's a squirrel, Al said. There's a squirrel. I'm telling you, dude, if animals start to realize that power in numbers works against human beings. Think about this, because as soon as you get within 50 yards of a deer, it usually runs away. But if you ever get up on an animal, and this happened, I did this with a red-tailed hawk the other day. I got right up on a red-tailed hawk. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting closer. This thing's going to kill me. I'm not talking about bears. I'm not talking about things that will eat you. But if animals, like if a group of deer actually just stood their ground and just stood there, and then they started walking towards you, freak you out with it. I'm just telling you. All right, we're going to do a couple classic rock tunes. You can go to Tony Kurre Radio. Get the Tony Kurre Radio app. It's killer. It's something I made about 3 years ago. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I just mentioned all the shows we do. It's killer. Download that and find out what's going on down at Auburn and find out who's going to win Super Bowl 56 with Al Del Greco. We're going to get into that in just a few minutes. I couldn't do it without our great partnerships and our great sponsors. We got Driscoll Gray. We got Vitro Health. We got Budweiser, Anniston, Birmingham Budweiser. I love those fine folks. They do a fantastic job. We've got Chris Doris. He does a wonderful job. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Jimmy Hale Mission. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Chris Creek, my good friend at the club at Lakeview, has been one of those guys that came in. He's a cornerstone client. He came in the first round. The club at Lakeview.com. The club at Lakeview, their Facebook page is fantastic. You can belong to a private membership club for as low as $100 a month. 477-6125, 477-6125, or go to the Club at Lakeview. The Club at Lakeview Facebook page is out there in McCall. It's God's country. It's beautiful. Check it out and get after it. In the meantime, we'll do some great classic rock and roll, and then, of course, we'll light it up here with Aldo Greco at 8:30 on the Tony Kurre Radio app on Tony Kurre Live. Tony Kurre Radio. Download that Tony Kurre Radio app. You're already on it or on your PC. Make sure you tell your friends and family, get after it, like us where we're at on Instagram, LinkedIn, and, of course, Facebook and Twitter. My good friend, and I'm so excited to have him on. I ran into him about a week and a half ago. Of course, he is, first, my good friend. He is a Super Bowl 34 participant. He's an AFC champion. He's a former Auburn kicker. And, of course, he's now the Sanford golf coach. Aldo Greco joins us here on Tony Kurre Live. Allie-hoo! What's up, baby?
Tony Kurre, you are one happy son of a gun. I know that with the Bengals being in this game.
I know. Can you believe it, man? It's just so bizarre. I want to get into that, but first I want to find out how you're doing. How long have you been at Sanford now?
This is my 8th year.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, time goes by fast. Really happy with the group of kids we have this year. We're actually leaving this afternoon for our first tournament down in Florida for the spring. And just excited to get this thing going. And we've endured COVID for the last, we missed a fall semester. We played last spring. was kind of limited this past fall. So it's been a kind of an uphill battle like everybody else. But like I said, good group of kids and looking forward to what's coming up.
Yeah, golf was one of those last things that closed when we had the pandemic, just because you were outside and you could go out and do whatever you want. And I think the last thing I did as a group was a tournament we did. And I'll never forget it because it was a drinking tournament. I wasn't drinking, obviously, but there were shot glasses at each hole, and everyone was using the same shot glasses as they went bowling. I was like, okay, this is not good. Aldo Greco played in Super Bowl 34, one of the most exciting Super Bowls, 23-16, came up just short against the Rams. And, of course, you were the AFC champion with the Tennessee Titans, and that's one team that Cincinnati Bengals actually beat just a couple of weeks ago. Get a chance to go up there and see that game. So I want to talk about Super Bowl 56, but obviously a lot of people knew that you were coming on the show today. Our listenership has never been better, I'll get honest with you. But there's a lot of Auburn fans wanting to listen. I was driving my kid to Indian Springs this morning, and the security guy said, "When's Al coming on? I want to find out what the hell is going on down in the plains." He's like, "I am so over this. I'm so tired of what's going on with the Auburn football program." I know you still have a lot of people on the inside there. You're obviously set records down there and did everything with the Auburn Tigers. But what's your initial thoughts on what you're hearing about this Brian Harsin thing? Is Auburn overthinking this? Did they make the right hire? What's your thoughts?
My personal thoughts, looking on last year and things I heard throughout, some people that watch practice and some of the players, was that he is the right guy for the job. Now, there are rumors out there. There are allegations and things like that about, infidelity. And I know some of the players have come out and spoken about, didn't like the way that they were treated. And, but then you had other guys saying, look, I mean, we're not here to coddle you and take you by the hand. This is a tough sport. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be very aggressive. And just because he's not your best friend doesn't mean he's not a good football coach. So I kind of see it both ways. I know, and you and I have talked about this many times. I have a lot of teammates from my first year when Coach Dye came in that would sit here today and tell you it was the hardest thing they've ever gone through in their life. Yep. They love the guy for it.
Yep.
I'll go back to Coach Bryant and the Junction Boys, and you talk to any of those guys, and it made a difference in their lives. I think, quite honestly, Tony, I think the culture today is just a lot different than that. And, it even goes to, the sport that I coach in college golf. Everybody wants to win, but are you willing to do what it takes, or are you willing to do more than what it takes to get yourself and your team ready to go? And I just don't think there are as many kids today that think that way. And, I'm not saying it's their fault, but it's just what the culture is today. And, you're seeing it. And now with social media, everybody has a voice. So all these players that, may have felt that way back years ago, you never heard about them.
Yeah, there's a lot of entitlement out there with these young kids.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're making money now. They're getting stipends. They got the portal where they can leave, they can go, they can come and please. And you got coaches that are doing the same thing, too. You got a Brian Kelly leaving a Notre Dame to go to an LSU. So, I mean, it's certainly the tectonic plates of college football are changing big time. You mentioned infidelity, and I don't want to put any words into your mouth. I hadn't heard that part of this story. Obviously, if there's something going on that's a personal issue that doesn't have to do with the football program, and Brian's part of that, that would change my whole feeling of it. This ain't the first time a coach has come in and had to clean house. And I realize they win 6 games last year, but this is still Auburn football. I mean, Auburn football is better than this. And when you bring in a guy like Brian Harsin, who obviously has had a ton of success, and I thought it was a home run hire. I really did. I thought he could be a difference maker. He could be an Auburn guy. When you bring a guy in like that, people don't obviously want to see 19 or 20 players leave or 5 coaches leave. You mentioned the kids. What's going on with the coaching staff? When you have that many coaches, you got guys taking pay cuts to go coach somewhere else. What does that say about a coach like Brian Harsin?
Yeah, and I do think, and I'll go back to the whole infidelity thing was the secretary that he brought from Boise. And again, nothing concrete on that. That may have been just something that somebody put out there. I think more would have come of that had something happened. But I agree with you. If, in fact, that is true, yeah, that's something that is not acceptable. I do think too, where you see, Derek Mason leaving, the offensive coordinator leaving. Hey, there is something to that. There has to be. You don't leave a position like that, like Derek Mason did, and go to Oklahoma State. I'm sorry, nothing against them, but
Yeah.
you're in the SEC. You're in the elite league, and had a pretty darn good defense last year. I don't know what to think about that part of it. So again, Tony, everybody says the powers that be, is there too much control, and do they want, just let the guy coach, let the guy do what he wants to do. Let him have autonomy on what he's doing, and let's see what kind of football coach he is. Let's not put parameters on everything and mandates on what you got to do and what we would like you to do. And hey, some of the guys that are those power guys played football, so they understand a little bit, but they're not there now.
Yeah.
It's totally different now.
Yeah, I mean,
Let him be.
you committed to the guy, and you've always been great about this. He's our coach, whether you like the hire or not. And I think you're like, he's our coach. Let's get behind him and let him have his autonomy and do his thing. The only unfortunate thing is that when we started doing the opening drive 13, 14, 15 years ago, you were given 3 or 4 years because you wanted to bring your own class in. You had your own recruiting class, and it took 3 or 4 years to build. You don't get that chance anymore. And the fact that they're even talking about letting him go and paying him out the $15 to $18 million buyout to me is like just a head scratcher to me. I'm like, you made this commitment. I don't know what that says about college football. I don't know, if that's something that we're having to re-deal with, but it just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I would be, and again, this is just my opinion, but I would be shocked if they let him go and had to buy him out.
Yeah.
You got this, what I call baloney, new legislation that or something that the people are implementing at Auburn about you need to cooperate with investigations. And come on, guys, let's just, you made a decision. You hired this guy. I thought he did a pretty good job. Yes, we lost the last 5 games. We had leads in almost all of them. Shouldn't have probably lost 2 of them. But hey, he took over January of last year. You just got to give him some time, like you said. And hey, Auburn, we're family, and let's act like it, and let's get back to what it used to be. And let's not be so harsh on everybody all the time. You got guys that are doing their best, and he's going to play the guys that want to win, plain and simple.
Yeah. Aldo Greco joins us here. Of course, he played in Super Bowl 34 with the Tennessee Titans against the Rams. They came up a little short there. He was the AFC champion that year. He played for the Auburn Tigers. Good friend of myself, and love having him on. Let's talk about Super Bowl 56 coming up on Sunday. The Bengals worst to first. It wouldn't be the first time to do it. And funny thing is that actually happened with the Rams. They went from worst to first. I've never seen anything like it. They're winning by the skin of their teeth. They're getting behind. They were down by 18 twice in this playoff run. And obviously Evan McPherson has been a big reason why they have been successful. But I've never seen a team with an offensive line as bad as the Cincinnati Bengals make it this far. What do you think they got to do on Sunday to beat the Rams?
Well, I'll go back. You mentioned it a little while ago, that the Titan game where they had 9 sacks in that game. If Tannehill doesn't have one of his poorest performances, I don't think they win that football game. But again, it's all part of it. So you adapt and you play, and that's why they play the game. And you got to execute and not make mistakes. But I really think in this game, what's one of the strengths of the Rams is their defensive front, Aaron Donald and all those guys, and the pressure that I think they can put on a quarterback is just, I don't know if it's something they'll be able to overcome in this game. But that being said, everybody, I don't want to say they've doubted Joe Burrow, but they keep saying, hey, second year guy, how cool, how calm, how long can he do this? And he just continues to make the right reads. He continues to take care of the football, and he makes plays when he has to make plays. You go back to that Kansas City game, and if you're standing there watching that in the middle of the second quarter, you're thinking, there's no way Cincinnati wins this game. They can't stop Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden they go in at halftime, they make adjustments. Kansas City's a different team. The Bengals are a different team. And then, like you said, Evan McPherson, I can't say enough about the job that young man's done to come in. What is he, 14 out of 14
Something
this
like that,
offseason?
Yeah, and 50-plus field goals.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost unheard of, that you could come in as a rookie and be that calm, cool, and collected and do that under those pressure circumstances. But he's done an unbelievable job. And, hey, who knows? You get a couple turnovers, you make the plays you need to play, and you got that guy sitting there at the end. If it's close, maybe it's another game winner for him. And, man, what a rookie year that would be. And I will add that his brother Alex is coming to Auburn next year. I know Anders Carlson is coming back. They'll probably redshirt Alex, I would think. But I don't know, with his knee injury that he had, how's he going to come back, Anders? But man, excited to have another McPherson coming into the SEC in the Plains, and I think he's going to be a good one the 4 years he's there.
What's your prediction for Sunday? And I'll let you fly.
I want the Bengals to win for you.
Yeah.
But I honestly think the Rams are going to win. I think, that defensive line, like I said, Matthew Stafford, man, another story there. You go from Detroit and you're in the Super Bowl, proves what kind of a quarterback he is and what kind of competitor he is on top of that. But I'm going to say the Rams are going to win 31-17.
I hope you're wrong.
Well, I hope I'm wrong too, but that's, like I said, I want them to win for you. That'd be great.
And C.J. Azuma has already come out and said he's going to try to play through that sprain. He said that if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, he's going to take a bath in Skyline Chili. I want to see it.
I was very disappointed for him because he's done a heck of a job since he left Auburn, playing for them and getting to that point and getting injured. I hope he gets a chance to play and plays well.
Al, I love you, man. Thank you so much. We'll talk on Sunday.
Right,
thank you, buddy.
Thanks.
There is Aldo Greco, of course, Super Bowl 34 kicker, won an AFC championship and played for the Auburn Tigers right here on Tony Kurre Radio.